No proposals for the Bengals this week, but Chad Johnson did have something creative up his sleeve. Carson Palmer went to him early for 7 yards and a first down, a catch that put the 1,000-yard mark for the 4th consecutive season. After a Shane Graham field goal gave the Bengals a 3-0 lead, they scored their first touchdown midway through the second quarter. Rudy following Levi Jones to make it 10-0 Bengals. From there, it got ugly, at least for a while. Kyle Bowler, who was 4 for 12 in the first half, throws one right to Deltha O'Neal, his 7th interception of the year. That gave the Bengals the ball at their own 11, and 5 plays later, Carson spotted Chad Johnson all alone for a 54-yard touchdown. We knew something was coming, but who could have guessed this? A putt with the pylon, followed by a Tiger-esque fist pump. 17-0 at the half. A minute 10 into the third quarter, Palmer struck again, hitting T.J. Hushmanzada, who knifed between 2 defenders to score. T.J. with 9 catches for 147 yards. That TD made it 24-zip. This 27-yarder to Chris Henry made it 31-nada. The rookie beating Deion Sanders on that play. But the Ravens rallied. Bowler threw a couple of touchdown passes at the end of the third quarter. Then Jamal Lewis scored on a 5-yard run to make it 34-21 in the fourth. Lewis rushing for 113 yards in the game. But Rudy Johnson answered. He ran for 114 yards, including a 3-yard TD that put it away. The Bengals beat the Ravens 42-29, scoring 5 touchdowns against the NFL's number 2 ranked defense.
Man, Willie and Levi and those guys, man, I don't know how much credit you give them, but Carson, he's under pressure maybe once or twice a game. And those guys, they block, man. And with those guys playing the way they play, it allows us to play the way we play.
Our job is to make these guys successful. You know, we know no glory is not going to come to us, but if we can get our quarterback to him for 300 yards and he's clean and after the game he's not limping, his jersey is not dirty, and if Rudy's jersey is dirty and he's grunting and going, and that's a good game for us.
After the game, when Marvin Lewis talked to his team, he said, "Congratulations, not what happened in the fourth quarter, not you were lucky the score never got any closer than it did. Just congratulations." In today's NFL, a win is a win. But don't think those second half mistakes won't come up this week in practice. To finish the season strong, the Bengals have to learn to finish games.
They scored a season-high 42 points, had a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver in the same game for the first time this season, and they swept Baltimore. But not without a few raised eyebrows from the sellout crowd when the Ravens, given up for dead, ripped off 3 touchdowns in less than 5 minutes.
We just got to do a better job of finishing. We got to play 60 minutes instead of, 30, 35 minutes. And that's basically all it came down to. We played good at first, and then, man, we just didn't finish.
You can't forget that is Baltimore, and we expected, a lot of teams play a 17-16 game with those guys, and you win by 17-16, you're happy. So definitely those guys made plays, they get paid to make plays, and they made some and fought back. But it was our job to go out there, and just nail the coffin.
The Ravens hadn't scored 20 points in a game all season, but they put up 29 points in the second half against the Bengals. 2 turnovers and too many defensive mistakes helped, but an offense averaging 39 points a game the last 2 weeks made sure the outcome was never in doubt.
I'm sure when we come in tomorrow, there'll be a lot of corrections. But, in this league, you can't apologize for wins. You can't, you don't do that today. That's what tomorrow's for, and then we clean it up and we go on to Pittsburgh.
The win puts the Bengals at 8-3 for the first time since the 1988 Super Bowl season. And it also puts Marvin Lewis's team on track for the possibility of a division title for the first time since '88 too.
And it started today with Baltimore. Next week we got Pittsburgh, and now looking forward, but we got Cleveland the week after. And that'll be the rest of our division, opponents. So we can control our destiny right now and separate ourselves from the rest of the pack.
Just play one football game at a time. We still have an opportunity to control our destiny, and that's the best thing. We still have an opportunity to win this division, control our destiny, and that's what we got to keep working at.
So that's game 1 of a critical 3-game stretch for Cincinnati. Next stop is Heinz Field. Before Bobby Williams even had his pads off after the game in the locker room, he said it's Pittsburgh week and we'll be ready. For more, here's Dan Horde.
Brian, the first time the Bengals played the Steelers, Carson Palmer had a quarterback rating below 100. It's the only time that's happened all year. Today he passed for 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a QB rating of 124. For Carson Palmer this season, the spectacular has become the norm. For Bengals fans who have managed to erase the memory of Akili Smith, Sunday's win provided the latest proof that if you don't have a decent quarterback, you don't have a chance. While Kyle Bowler floundered for most of the first 3 quarters, completing 4 of his first 15 passes, Carson Palmer put one throw after another right on the money.
You know, running routes, I'm definitely not worried about what the quarterback's doing. You know, I know it's going to be there.
You know, I always feel like there's always a completion on the field. We have such a good system with such good players that I can always find a completion. It's just my job to get it.
Incredibly, it's only his second year on the job, and the difference between last year and this year can be found in the Bengals' expanding playbook.
The more things that the coaching staff can put on your quarterback, you know, last season we kind of took some things off him. We may have been limited a little bit last season, but this year they're throwing the book at him. He's telling the coaches, give me more, and we can tell on Wednesdays. We can tell on Wednesdays the amount of plays they're putting in for him to do, because the more plays we can run efficiently, the better we'll be.
And lately, more and more of those plays are coming in the no huddle at any point in the game, a sure sign of Palmer's comfort level and command.
For right now, it's a really good change of pace. It gets the defense tired, especially when you play against a team like that with a really good front four. It really wears them out because you get the game tempo going and they don't know when you're snapping the ball. So I love it. You know, the game's in your hands. It's fun. You know, it's like playing street ball.
With a quarterback who rarely misses his target.
That's the trademark of Carson, isn't it? Someone like Troy Aikman can put the ball where you can catch it, very accurate. So that's why he was the first pick.
All right, it's time for a quick timeout for us, but there's plenty to come on Sports Wrap, including our weekly staple. He's always jacked up for the big games, and they don't get any bigger in the regular season than this trip to Pittsburgh. Here's Dan with Chad for this week's installment of Chad's Corner.
Cincinnati, I love you. We're here again for a special edition of Chad's Unbelievable Corner. With me today, very special guest who's dear to all of our hearts, Channel 19's own Dan Hort.
Chad, thank you very much. Now, I must tell you, I'm a golfer, so I'm here to critique your putting stroke after that touchdown celebration. I don't know, you've got to keep your head down when you're putting the ball like that.
I think I took my eyes off the ball too early to look at the hole to see where it was going. Other than that, I'm a +8 golfer right now. That's my handy +8. I'm thinking about going on a tour.
Yeah, +8, right. Your fist pump was Tiger Woods like.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
That was Tiger Woods like, including my golf game.
All right, now I know you plan your touchdown celebrations on Tuesday, but here's my question for you. How many do you plan just in case you get into the end zone 3 or 4 times?
3 at a time.
So you have 3 ready every week?
3 ready every week.
So you had 2 left on the table today just in case you can use those next week against Pittsburgh.
All right, I have something special for Pittsburgh. Y'all got to enjoy Pittsburgh. I'm going to make history with this celebration next week.
T.J. Hushmanzada said a few minutes ago, next week will be the biggest game of his NFL career. Do you feel the same way?
Nah, I just take each game as a regular game. You know, thinking about being a big game, you know, it's no need. Football is football regardless of, you know, what the factors, you know, may be at hand. You know, I think that's what keeps me playing so well regardless of who my opponent is. Not really mattering or caring who it is, just going out and just playing.
Let's talk about today's game. It was 34-0, then it got a little bit hairy. Did you get a little nervous?
Nah, for what? For what? We know what we need to do, and we need to score points and get back on top of teams.
Baltimore doesn't have a great record, but they do have a great defense, even with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed out. To put 40 points on the board against those guys, do you feel like that's quite an accomplishment?
Yeah, we can put 40 on anybody each week. Any given week, we can do the same thing, and that's what we're looking forward to do, you know, week after week. We're going to put up 40 and keep on going. And playing at that level and that pace, putting up 40 a game, would have us playing in Detroit twice.
5 catches, 88 yards. That's another no check in the who covered 85 and 05, but you were matched up for much of the day against Samari Roll, and that's special for you.
They had him following me. You know, it was a family affair at the time, but, you know, he lost, and it's probably going to be that way for the rest of our NFL career, him losing.
Big game tomorrow night, Steelers at Colts. Will you and Carson Palmer road trip to Indianapolis?
Nah. We'll be watching that at home.
And let's look ahead to next week. You get a chance to get even, and if you beat the Steelers next week, the Bengals have a very good chance of winning the division.
Next week, we have a very good chance of beating the Steelers.
You said win. That almost sounds like a guarantee.
It sure is not. Are we finished here?
We can be.
Cincinnati, once again, we are victorious. I love you. Call me if you need me. Peace.
All right, that's Chad Johnson on Chad's Corner. Let's go back to Brian.
Chad's, I'd say he was in control of that interview towards the end. Honorary bald guy, Chad Johnson is, and he already got the hype started for next Sunday. After the game, at his locker, he whipped out a terrible towel just to get things cranked up early for the Steelers.